So you are a business owner, a CEO, and you want to get the best out of your employees. Modern CEOs have centuries even longer of written experience how to try and get the best out of a business. It is well known that happy, motivated employees give the best performance. The first and most obvious is to get the right kind of staff. Staff you can trust, who are smart and dedicated. The old way of running a business with a whip whilst it can sort of work in a factory or in the fields hardly works for complex things like software development, nor does it comply with the law in most countries anymore. If you look at the highly successful companies like Google and Facebook, they have a reputation for giving their employees great support in their job roles. There are some caveats in the mega corporate world, such as Amazon, who have a high turnaround of staff, and many Chinese manufacturers who operate under sweatshop conditions. Firstly, there are things you can do which are free, such as maintaining a fair and friendly attitude towards your employees. Make sure that they have the tools to do their job, a decent setup. Create an environment adapted to their production needs. If they work in a factory, that you have sufficient lighting and all the safety protocols adhered to. If they work with software development which requires concentration, in the middle of a noisy open plan office is not good. Research has showed that every time someone is interrupted, it takes about 20 minutes for the brain to go back to full concentration. Such employees should be the first candidates for remote working. I will say to offer as many people as possible the option of remote working. Before the COVID pandemic, the jury was out if remote working made business sense, but when it happened during the pandemic, most business discovered that most staff work a lot better from home than anticipated. This also goes back to the beginning of what I said. If you hire staff you can trust, then you shouldn't have to supervise them much. I will expand on this and say that micromanaging is bad. It breaks motivation and productivity. This doesn't mean that you should not have checks and balances in place, including performance reviews and targets. In fact, by you giving your employees tools and flexibility, you should be able to set more ambitious targets. This leads me on to be results-driven rather than protocol-driven. By that I mean, unless your operation interfaces directly with customers where, say, you need to open a store at 10 a.m., or you run a customer service helpline where staff needs to be available for calls at a certain hour, you should apply flexible working hours. Set targets instead. This makes excellent business sense. I can recall when I was transferred from the AUK branch office where the management had a rule that staff must buy in at 0930 every day. The result was that at precisely 5:30 p.m. everyone left, regardless of what work may have been left to do. Also often when they came in at 0930, they were tired from the rush hour congestion and spent 2 hours going on social media or chatting to their equally tired colleagues by the coffee machine. I was then transferred to the Los Angeles area in the USA where my manager operated very differently. The first week I remember being late due to traffic, and I messaged my manager that I was running 15 minutes late. He did not respond. When I got in, I approached him to apologize for being 15 minutes late again. His response was, "I want you to build 90 servers today. This has to be finished before you leave, okay?" And he added, "So I don't care when you get into the office, just have those 90 server built before you go, please, as the app team needs to deploy apps this week." That is an example of a results-driven manager. I built the 90 servers and then went home. The app team got their hosts on time and was able to deliver a service to the company's customers. If this was back at the London office, those 90 servers may or may not have been built that day, as that wasn't management's focus. Management there had created a culture where timekeeping mattered over everything else. One manager there had even said, "Getting in on time is half the job." Production results is everything. It is what makes money for the business, and that is where the focus needs to be. Of course, if people's schedules vary wildly, then this could create problems, but this is rarely the case. An employee who may get in after traffic rush hour at 10:30 but feels he can stay later to finish a project and then sleep in, and maybe start work at 11 the next morning will get the job done on time. If an employee is underperforming, there may be a reason not connected to motivation or competence. At home, family issues, and health are some reasons. Compassion and flexibility goes a long way here also. Keep anything non-production related to a minimum. This means as few layers of management as possible. No company, no matter how big, needs more than 5 layers of management between the CEO and the lowest level employee on the floor. Meetings and non-production related activities should be kept at a minimum. This is time which could be spent on production. Only have meetings when you or someone has something pertinent to production. Never have meetings just for the sake of having a meeting. Rather than a scheduled morning, daily, or even weekly team meeting, reserve a slot of anyone has something to say and then have a meeting. Label these meetings as opt-in, voluntary, unless absolutely essential. You need everyone to attend, such as to discuss an important product issue or company changes. Try and get a good feel for the tasks your employees do, almost like an undercover boss. This was a great idea and led to a number of improvements during that show's run. Many managers, especially new ones, make the mistake that micromanagement is a sign of strength, show them who is the boss. But rather, this is a sign of insecurity and even incompetence. Be results-driven, encouraging coaching available, but let the employees work at peace. That is real strength and confidence. Company incentives such as performance-related annual bonus is a great stick and carrot, as are stock incentives. You may, of course, experience workers who, despite all the above efforts, still aren't happy, and there isn't much you can or even should try and do about that. If they don't like it, then they have the option to leave. To summarize, employ staff you can trust. Provide tools for staff to do their job well. Be supportive. Do not micromanage. Allow for reasonable flexibility. Avoid meetings. Focus on productivity rather than timekeeping. Have as few layers of management as possible. Create productivity incentives. I hope this has been informative. Comment below and please remember not to share any personal or other confidential information. Thank you for watching.